with this lesson, I thought I'd talk briefly about the CAGED chord system for the guitar. Basically, it's called the CAGED chord system because it's named after each of the chords in the system. And the idea of the system is that all the chords on the guitar, or most of the chords anyway, are based on the patterns used to play these five main chords, which are obviously C, A, G, E, and D. And so I'll just run through a bit of the patterns based with the fingering on each of these chords and sort of how it relates in terms of extending from one fingering pattern to the next. So for the C chord, which is like so forth, this pattern basically can be sort of shifted up when you end up barring across there, and you can end up with this particular chord here was like an E flat. So the trick to this is that this first finger here is acting as the bar of the open string, so you end up with this pattern up and down, all based on the C major, standard open C major pattern. So for example, as a bar chord, which basically all these chords from the CAGED system become bar chords in a sense. So the idea of knowing bar chords is you can change to various chords and in various keys with just using a bar. So it's F chord, for example. There's an E flat, D, C sharp, and back to the C. So that's based on the C chord. The next chord in the system is the A, or A major, which is basically the three fingers across there. And then the bar chord based on that is your B flat bar chord, which is the one finger across and three fingers 2 frets up from that. So in this case on the 3rd fret on the D, G and B strings. And again, this can just be pushed up to say D, D flat, C, B, and a B flat chord there, back to your A. So you can sort of see how this is all becoming the same patterns, just shifting things up and down a fret. Then the next chord is the G chord, which is a very common chord. Probably everyone should hopefully know that. Again, this often isn't used very much in terms of shifting because it's very hard to then physically. You can get nice sounds doing that based on an A with ninths and strange things like that. But probably the main purpose of this is just thinking that you've got your open D, G and B and a G note there. And you can shift that up, say 2 frets to here, and that's an A, based on those top 4 strings of the G chord, a B, a C, and to know which chord it is. In this case, I'm just always looking at what note I'm playing here with my little finger on the top string. So that's based on the G. And then the next one is the E major chord, which is another very common chord, and the bar chord based off that is your F. F sharp, G sharp, A, and so forth. So we're just looking at all the major chords here. So it's also, you can do the same thing for minor chord shape variations as well for all of these chords. And the last chord in the CAGED guitar chord system is the D chord, which is just the little triangle chords I call it. It's the 4 strings from D, A there, I'm playing another D and an F sharp, makes the D chord. So this shape again can be moved simply. If you want to keep it simple, just move up the 3 fingers. That's from a D, just playing the 3 strings. That's an E flat, say to an E. Again, this can also actually overlaps a little bit. So if you're going back to remembering the C pattern here, which is C, and then if I wanted to shove that up, so that's an E flat. You can sort of see here, I've still got this triangle thing down here, but instead of doing it with these 3 fingers, I'm just barring and adding that in there to make the E flat note with my 2nd finger. If you then stretch all the way across back to here, we begin to overlap a bit with that C pattern. With the bar there to play, I'm playing an E flat chord now, or down to a D, which is basically the pattern used at the start of Under the Bridge by the Red Hot Chili Peppers. He's doing that natural chord there, which is quite an awkward way of playing D, but the trick is that you're getting the F sharp note in there, which you normally are missing that low F sharp playing the standard D chord. So that's working on the D chord sort of pattern. And you can obviously extend that all the way up here. In this case, you could play like a G chord, or if you're adding these other notes in there, you've got another G chord and so forth. So that's what the CAGED chord system for the guitar is, if you always wonder what that is. So, but the trick is that if you know some of these patterns, then shifting to strange keys like B flat and E flat and D flat and F sharp or whatever is quite simple because you're just simply shifting those patterns up and down a fret.